Welcome to Video 1, the Business Model Canvas. I want to introduce Section 1, which we're kicking off today, with our business requirements, our feature list, our UI design, and the team kickoff. We don't use the term discovery phase as some fashionable web agencies do. Web applications are full-blown software applications. They deserve an iterative and incremental software development process like any other, tailored to their real needs and context. Well, but this is about a migration. However, that doesn't mean we just take the old monolith and stick the same old content into a new monolith, or even a shiny Jamstack. Jamstack is decoupled, but it's an interesting architecture usually associated with static site generators. We'll get into that later. What this really is about is the migration of my Drupal 6 professional blog to what will it be? What it's actually about then is to decide which legacy content to keep and which new content to add even in the initial launch. How do we decide that? Well, the migration is not an end in itself. It's just a stepping stone towards the realization of our new business model. What we're really talking about is a business and process model for the whole project itself, as if it was made from scratch. Our website, should we just rescue our stuff and just put it out to pasture? Or should we make a new site? Well, how do we even decide that? We have to ask again and again, what is it for? Who needs it? Years have passed. Worlds have changed. Worlds are about to change even more. Now, as time goes by, we've talked about project renovation many times. We have documents written, notes from conversations written on napkins in coffee shops, drawn up using different systems. For example, in order to get to the bottom of what we actually want to do, maybe we use Tim O'Reilly's meme map from this article in 2005. Design patterns and business models for the next generation of software. Basically, the meme map. Basically, the Web 2 meme map attempted to crystallize what was Web 2. How do you say what a website is? What was a Web 2 website? Well, it was first based on a whole bunch of principles: trust your users, want to play, the perpetual beta, the long tail. And all of these different concepts and ideas were brought together as core competencies, services, not packaged software, architecture participation, cost-effective scalability. In the user positioning, you control your own data. In strategic positioning, the web as a platform. Okay? And when you're making a website, you make your own basic core ideas. And that brings it out to what we build out. Flickr as an example, Gmail, PageRank, blogs. Well, we can do one of these for ourselves. In my case, I want to demystify development as a principle. So I'm going to need a way to have people participate in a learning experience based on their real needs. And therefore, I'll have videos, I'll have articles, and so on and so forth. So that's one way of making a business model. Maybe we took a course on how to make a startup. The website thought of as a startup. For example, Steve Blank's Get Out of the Building, How to Build a Startup course, where the business model canvas figures prominently. It's a free Udacity course, and it's really cool. You can just take the course. What we now know about startups, business models and customer development, value proposition, what is it you're proposing, customer segments, channels, customer relationships, revenue models, partners. All of this has to be thought of. There's no such thing as I want to make a website. We have to ask and answer a lot of questions. It's a big deal. Maybe we just sat down, tried to write out our project business model, following some kind of outline, so we know what we're doing it for, what we expect. So to start out with, the first question has been, the migration is not an end in itself. What is it we want to make the website for? So we need to gather up all those inputs spread out on a table in piles in front of us and funnel them into what we need to get started: a UI design and feature list and a plan. And we've found that the following 3 steps can do this. The business model canvas to get to the heart of what we actually want to be doing. The lean UX canvas to map out the journey of getting there. How will the website or web app be instrumental in setting everything in motion? With the team kickoff, where everything and everybody joins up. In this section, the first 3 videos, we'll be showing how we've used these tools in order to be ready to funnel on through to our goals and get the process into motion. So now, on to the first step, the business model canvas. We're going to go through an introduction, and then we're going to visit in turn each pane of the business model canvas. So as we've already said, our best move is to funnel all the inputs we've got over the last few years, months, weeks, days into a business model canvas. Or iteratively do one every Friday until the feedback and the discussion gets into shape so we're ready for a kickoff. In Wikipedia, we have an explanation of the business model canvas as a template for developing new or documenting existing business models. So we have the value proposition, first and foremost. What value do we deliver to the customer? Which one of our customers' problems are we helping to solve? What are we offering? And who are we offering it to? Who are our most important customers? In the mass market, the niche market, segmented market, whatever, who has a problem and whose problem are we trying to solve. What type of relationship does each of our customer segments expect us to establish and maintain with them? In other words, making a website, people come onto the website for some purpose to acquire some value, and what kind of relationship are they going to have? Personal assistance, dedicated personal assistance, self-service, communities, co-creation, what? And what channels are going to exist? How are we reaching them now? Before the website. How are our channels integrated? So these channels go through phases, right? Awareness, how do we raise awareness about what we're trying to produce, even if we're not a company, even if we just want to make a website, so we are something that's offering something of value to somebody. How do people evaluate the value proposition we're offering? And if there's a purchase involved, how do they make that purchase? How do they receive delivery of what they're purchasing? And how do we provide post-purchase customer support? All of this is what we want to know about how our value proposition is going to get to the customer segments whose problem we're solving, and what kind of relationship is going to be involved, and what kind of channels of communication are going to exist. We also want to know what revenue streams, how is the website going to be supported, even if it comes down to how you're going to pay your $5 a month. Okay, so we have to deal with this. This is all part of the business model, even if it's a small venture. So, for our value proposition, what kind of key activities do we need to be involved in to actually be doing it, right? And in order to get those key activities in motion, what resources do we actually need? Physical, intellectual, human, financial? What kind of team do we need to have? And these are the resources that are actually going to be doing the tasks in order to make the value proposition a reality. We may use key partners who are not actually resources, they're not part of the actual team, but they are partners whose services we need to think of taking advantage of in order to get where we want to go. And all of this has a cost. What kind of cost structure are we going to be involved in, right? What are the most important costs? Which key resources are most expensive? Which key activities are most expensive, whether they involve resources or partners? That's the business model canvas, and we need to get going on one. And we're going to go over what we've been able to achieve ourselves in this video for the remaking of a webfactory.com. There's also a short explanatory video on YouTube that is really interesting, and I recommend you taking a look at that, just 2-minute video. It's also very well worth taking a look at the Strategizer site. These are the guys who originated the business model canvas, and you might find a lot of resources if you feel like drilling down into this question. Okay, so how have we been applying this to the remaking of a webfactory.com? The first thing we're going to look at are customer segments. Basically, we're going to be answering the question, for whom are we creating value? which problems are we solving for which segments, and who are our most important customers. So who are we creating value for? We've basically boiled this down to content seekers looking for solutions, job seekers searching for employment and needing to learn things, a job provider, an agency seeker, somebody who wants to build an agency. And all of these people, including content seekers, could become members. So a content seeker looking for solutions, a general user focused on content, may just be beginning to enter customer channels, someone who trains themselves partially or totally with a Web Factory content without necessarily becoming a member, someone evaluating a Web Factory services, mentoring, content. Okay, so the website has to be for them. It also has to be for job seekers. An individual or group seeking job readiness through mentorship. And the mentorship is project-based training, through a real project-based training, through content, coach, trainer, and a mentor. Members of project teams working on a project, seeking on-team mentorship, either individually or on a team level. These are people who a Web Factory would like to help. I need to train alone. This is the use case for a job seeker. He would say, she would say, I need to train alone, or with a coach or trainer, or work with a mentor in order to get a job or work on a project. I need to train in order to acquire a specific skill set, in order to be able to join a team working on a given project. I need to monitor my nearness to goals in order to get a job or work on a project. So there has to be functionality prepared for all of this, if that's what our model is, on the site, on the web app. I need to pair up with other members of the community. When I'm ready, I need to get a job. I need to form part of a team working on a paid project. Now, we don't have to focus on all of this. We may end up focusing on a subset of this. But this defines a job seeker who is one of those for whom we're creating value, a customer segment. We also have job providers, right, who could be part of the community, a medium to large size agency, a small to medium business, an organization, a single department in a large company, organization that needs to build and mentor a team on the basis of a given project, saying, I need to build a team or team of teams for a web development project. I need to find job seekers with a given skill set. I need to publish my paid project so that job seekers will apply. This may or may not be in the scope, but we've got to mention it as a conceivable, possible part of our business model. I need to publish my paid project so that job seekers will apply. I need to hire a Web Factory services or someone in their community as my team and receive the deployed project as a deliverable. So all of these are possibilities. Maybe somebody who wants to start an agency seeker. Okay? I want to be a one-man web development team. I want to delegate work to job seekers. I want to learn how to run all of this. All of these people, we would like these people to be members of this community. Any of the above segments may sign up, log in, thereby inheriting a member persona attributes. How to make payments, or review my payments history. What are they paying for? We'll have to define this. How to monitor and evaluate real progress. That's one of the most interesting things. We're postponing some segments until the advent of the community business model, because it's going to be, to start out with, a minimum viable product is probably going to be, because we've been studying this and we have gotten to the conclusion that the minimum viable product is going to be, for me, Victor Kane, to work as a mentor with teams. But postponed, we want to make sure that we know what we're postponing. We're postponing job training providers and mentorship providers. In other words, eventually we could have a whole community of training providers and mentorship providers. Okay, they could all meet, so we could have a whole social network. That would be interesting. So if we get the first part done well, maybe we'll pivot to that. We'll see. But it's cool to look at this as part of the business model. Now, let's go over this again. Given the different segments, what problems do they really have? And do we really know that they have those problems? And what problems are we solving? A content seeker, as a small, medium-sized business, I want to visit a webfactory.com in order to find out how they can help me in terms of web app architectures and or development processes. What's going on in these fields? How approach content on webfactory.com? How to find the content and assistance and support I'm looking for. A content seeker doesn't know how to evaluate. I don't know where to start. Here's the website. What do I do? Where do I find what I'm looking for? They don't know necessarily what they really need for their current project or goal. So we want a playground where they'll be able to come to terms with these projects and ways to get into them. A job seeker. As someone wishing to acquire job team skills in software engineering, I want to visit a webfactory.com in order to find out how they can help me in terms of web app architecture and development process. I'll be able to need to monitor my progress. Where are the lessons taking me that I'm taking? Where's my study plan? How far along am I? Is this just a waste of time? Am I really getting anywhere? Am I ever going to get a job studying this stuff? Is this really helping me? I have a quick question that needs answering. I need advice outside the course. Okay, all of this has to be taken into account. But these are the problems that these market segments have. And I'm making a site in order to be able to help. A job provider, So should a web factory be a consultant? Receive deliverables only. For me, as a job seeker. How to build a team. How to make sure the team has the right process and tools. Each of these avenues could be explored and developed. We'll have to prioritize them. This is what we need to dig into, all of these problems. What are the potential communities and sub-communities a webfactory.com could be involved in? A management team, they don't know how to monitor progress. They don't know where they are on the project. Where are we? Okay, cool. So these are some of the questions that are being asked. And somebody who wants to build an agency. How do I know when I need to delegate? How to grow DevOps according to needs? How should I scale? How to avoid all kinds of crunches? How to get a good process, right? Come to a webfactory.com, you'll get it. Well, that's what I'd like a webfactory.com to be. So it's important to know where we're going. Now, who among all of these, we have to say, well, there's a lot of options here. Who's our most important ones? We don't want a mass market. We don't necessarily want a niche domain market. Yes, it should be segmented. It should be segmented into Job providers, for example, a web app software engineering team about to embark upon a project who need a mentor to join their team to offer web app architecture and or development process skills. That's what I'd like to, that's my first priority. That's what I'd like to get into. Maybe agency seekers, agencies, startups seeking a web factory services in order to execute projects, provide coaching, training, mentorship, on-team membership. A job seeker, individuals seeking skill acquisition. I think this is the segment I'd really like to get to. And yes, diversified in terms of all different kinds of people, business models, areas, characteristics, kinds of communities. What we're going to postpone is a multi-sided platform where we'd have a community composed of those both offering and seeking services and using the platform to find each other and fulfill those needs. That we're going to postpone. It's going to be me looking for teams who need me. Cool. So we're kind of getting somewhere building our business model. Okay, now what value proposition are we going to be offering in order to actually be able to interest these customer segments and help them? Solutions and products. So, mentoring, project and topic consulting, website content forming skills, matrix courses. What's that? Well, that is where we have learning paths and steps you have to take in order to get to certain levels of skill acquisition. Okay? That's what we're interested in, the matrix. We'll get into that a little later on. Case studies, online communities for those both offering and seeking services. Okay, those are the solutions and products. So we're saying learning paths, steps in acquiring skills, project and topic consulting, and mentoring. Again, individuals and groups either interested in job readiness or project process, implementation and deployment. The most important, what I really want, is mentoring services offered to groups and individuals while being on your real world project team, or at least project based if it's for job readiness. Something real. Cool. So those are the solutions and products involved in the value propositions I want to offer, right? And that's, the value I want to deliver to the customer, the problems I want to help with, the bundles of products and services I'm offering, and, now the characteristics, newness, performance, customization, process architecture, solutions tailored to your real needs. That's one of my characteristics, right? Really getting the job done, a total unity of theory and practice in a context of thorough demystification. Don't be sold on hypercomplexity and costs. No more monoliths. No more leaving your stuff behind a black hole of complexity you're thoroughly dependent on. No more leaving your stuff behind a paywall. That's what a web factory is all about. And demystifying dev is on a web factory project to actually get that to people. I feel very strongly about this. So we're identifying it, right? Now, what kind of design are we going to make? Because we have to think of the design, right? What kind of architecture are we going to actually have, right? So the website sections, we've been exploring these. We'll have mentoring, we'll have a case study section, a training section, a project flow and tracker space where you can actually follow your projects if you're a member, about us, contact, an archive of content. Okay, so that's, the website sections. In 2012, right, with Winnie Story, we were working on the design of this very logo, okay? And so we actually have this placed here during the video because it's my brand. It's what I'm trying to be. So green, orange, yellow, all of these have different meanings. I've been through this a number of times, so just want to make sure I'm doing everything in the website that is designed to cater to the value proposition I want to offer. Be using a modern kind of UI kit of some kind. We'll see about that, and we'll be working with that and seeing how to implement it and everything. What kind of architecture? On the back end, we want Node.js, Express, MongoDB, self-hosted on a VPS, exposing a REST API or GraphQL kind of interface. So, create once, publish everywhere. And on the front end, we want maybe either a static site generator, making a static site, or a web app using a React framework like Next, right? So, and we want things self-hosted. That's the kind of architecture we're looking for. Again, the design that we mentioned before and the colors with Winnie Story, it's very interesting. Really, it's necessary to get involved. What's your color scheme? What's your logo, right? That's my logo, man. Why? Because orange, energy green, comfort nurturing, learning, computer related, the green computer screen from the past, right? And brown, trustable, industrial era, yellow, gold, intellectual, right? Software architecture and process engineering workspaces for the web application process. That's the slogan and the mission. I want to help you make your factory. I can give you a production workspace in my factory. I can give you mentorship by joining your team, development deliverables for your in-house tech infrastructure. Create your own factory. I want you to do it. Use my factory as an example, or use it to take delivery in your own workspace of your own content and your own web application and site. So, this is my brand. This is my design. This is what I want to do. Cost reduction, yes. We want to have reduction of unnecessary complexity, right? And we don't need to charge such high prices. We just want to get it done, make a living. Risk reduction, yes. We're reducing your risk because you're in control. See, these are the features, these are the characteristics of what I'm offering. You, the customer, you, the user, are in control. Demystifying, guarantees, because we struggle to provide what you really need instead of trying to sell buzzwords. We reduce unnecessarily complex labyrinths of dependency on third parties you don't need. We work on the basis of and in support of the original principles of the open source movement, which is known for large community testing of real needs, the cathedral and the bazaar. None of your commercial version and your community version that's crippled. No, we want open source, big communities helping each other, sharing knowledge, and big enough to really help each other get done what they need to get done. Those are our principles. We struggle to make you aware of what we're delivering is an evolving and adapting technology and not a static product. Okay, so there's some education of the client required, and a webfactory.com is going to have to do that, because people are not buying a toaster, they're buying a process, they're buying something that's evolving that needs maintaining. Through mentoring in the context of being part of your teams and teams of teams, we strive for the adoption of a no-nonsense, real project useful, agile and lean UX engineering process, including the adoption of hands-on continuous integration DevOps, so all clients, individuals, groups and teams, business departments, people wandering through the site, reading it, achieve full effective control themselves on their stuff. This through person-centered and not company-first-centered, decentralized, people-based mentoring, capable of being adopted by those who are actually getting the work done. Those who know me, a web factory is hired and is centered on not on the guy who's paying me necessarily. I've worked for big companies like Clarín newspaper in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Telefonica. I was centered on the people I'm talking to, the people who are really getting the work done. I was not centered on the company. The company needed me to center on the people actually working, so we get more horizontal sharing, teamwork, no individual silos. Convenience and usability. Yeah, we're going to need that. So these are the characteristics, and I get really, really motivated and worked up about this. That's our value proposition. Okay, now, what channels are we going to have? Through which channels do our customer segments want to be reached? How are we reaching them now? Well, good question. Prefer not to answer it. Not very well, a bit disjointed. I want to get my blog back. I want to get back to work. I want to get back involved more. The industry is changing so much. I want to be a part of that. So, which channels? Okay. How are people going to become aware of a web factory? How do we raise awareness about our company's products and services? Well, we'll be doing Twitter campaigns when we actually have articles and videos and projects that are exciting through the website, drawing people to the website, and yes, MailChimp campaigns to advertise the existence of this help we're offering to the community. That's what we're going to be doing to gain awareness. How will people evaluate us, right? How do we help customers evaluate our value propositions? So we need a really good about section that clearly states our mission, history, and teamwork. Real case studies written by ourselves and clients together. And that may go beyond being case studies, actually courses of how to get stuff done. Easy ways, transparently, to communicate with us freely and dispel doubts. Ask questions. Some kind of way to encourage trial mentoring. Free hands-on skill steps to take, forming courses and learning paths, complete with useful code templates and examples, before you sign up, so you can see there's a whole process to this. We're not trying to exploit people's needs. We're trying to help people. We're very satisfied just in helping people. Competitors. Okay, it's interesting. Competitors in the sense of it's such a vast world. It's not that we're afraid of competitors, or it's just, what we really want, right, is to find people we can look up to, people who are doing things well, like Academind, Flavio Corpes, Robin Weruch, Vue developers, Ocio Labs, Drupalize Me people, okay? People who've been doing stuff really well for a long period of time. That's what I've been doing, and I want to get back to doing. That's why I want to revitalize my website urgently. Okay, and how are people going to buy anything from me? How am I going to get any money coming in? That's going to be important. PayPal could be. Because a lot of what I'm going to be doing is free. I got to talk about that. I got to think about that. A large part of what I do is free, and I just want to basically be paid for mentoring when I'm actually working on a project on a team. I'm not interested so much in selling books, selling courses. I want to be doing stuff on a project, on a team. That's where I want to get paid. Okay, now, communication channel types. Okay, I think we mentioned this: Twitter, website, YouTube, like this video, online mentoring through Zoom, so on and so forth. Okay, I think we're clear here. In other words, I'm going to be delivering things online. That's important, because if I just said I mainly want to be working on a team, I'm mainly going to be working with people online, especially given the world situation right now. Those are the channels. Customer relationships. What type of relationship does each of our customer segments expect us to establish and maintain with them? Right. In the past, it's always been online. It's always been mentoring. And I've been living in Los Angeles. I've been living in Buenos Aires. Basically, been having customers and clients everywhere in the world, and in many, many, many parts of the world. It's all online, and they're not that costly. Examples of the kinds of relationships people are going to want as personal assistants: yes, one-on-one, a lot of one-on-one, a lot of dedicated personal assistants, right? And a lot of self-service. I want a webfactory.com to be a place where people can find things. Okay. And just as I'm excited about a webfactory.com, you've got to be excited about a website you're doing, otherwise don't do it. Communities, the ultimate aim, always, is the participation in and the creation of communities and the co-creation of open source projects. Okay. Now, we've already spoken about the revenue stream. We won't go into detail on that right now today. Now, in order to get these value propositions delivered to customer segments through the channels, given the customer relationships that exist, what kind of key activities do I expect to be doing? It's going to be a lot of learning. I need to learn stuff all the time, and people need to be learning. A webfactory.com is going to have articles, books, all kinds of materials, learning paths, and courses. Demystifying Dev is going to be the way that people are actually going to be taught and learn, and other projects. Developing, creating paths and steps in the various media formats and readying deliverables as a service. DevOps, right? I'm going to be involved in process and deployment, just doing a webfactory.com and helping people be able to do theirs. I'm going to be involved in a lot of teaching, actually doing coaching, training, and mentoring, maybe trainer, but in the minimum viable product, we're going to be working alone with other people on an as-needed basis. For example, I'm going to be working, as I'm continuing to work on projects with web designers, with testers, with specific coders, with specific skill sets, making teams. That's what I do. Marketing. Getting teams on board for mentoring, training, coaching, dev services, campaigns, be involved in social networking campaigns with landing pages to do and email and follow up, and running the community, right? Eventually, we hope that there'll be a whole community of people doing what I'm doing and people doing what people who come to a webfactory.com are doing. So, these are the areas of activities, right? Trying to answer this question as well as I can. What distribution channels? I think we've spoken of customer relationships, revenue streams, the categories, right? A lot of it is going to be problem solving for people on a platform, right? Good. Okay, so these are our key activities. The key resources is me. Okay. The distribution channels, I'm gonna better have a really good set of internet resources. That's why I always have at least 2 internet providers at my home office. The physical, I need my laptop. Recently acquired a strong Ubuntu server at home, since not going very far usually anyway. Got my home office, a monitor, some purchase software licenses, as little as possible. Interesting, I'm using Synergy to use the keyboard and mouse between people. I'm not using ScreenFlow anymore, I'm using OBS. Okay, cool. To make this very video. Mainly, we need the internet, and we need good servers, because we need. We'll come to that with partners. You see, the key resources is what I'm going to provide myself individually. Okay. There may be intellectual copyrights, human. It's me right now, and the team around me on an as-needed basis. Okay, cool. So, the partners, banks, PayPal, this, that, and the other, cloud resources. DigitalOcean is my favorite, and I need to have dev, staging, and production environments, right? So dev, I basically want to have local Docker instances. DigitalOcean or similar, when there's a need to scale, can still use DigitalOcean with a Kubernetes cluster. Gonna need GitHub, although GitLab is an alternative, and of course Git also as a self-hosted alternative. The same with issue tracking. I'm stopping using Trello. I'm using a self-hosted Kanban. Using Joplin a lot. I'll be showing how that works. Cloudinary for digital assets. Migrate to self-hosted image flow. Right? Trello. Migrate to self-hosted Kanban. GitHub. Migrate to self-hosted Git. Okay, see, this is so cool. All of these references will be below the video as usual. So these guys, these are partners, cloud resources. I will need, I don't have my own means of communication yet. So DigitalOcean, cloud resources, or similar. Motivation for partnerships. See, now when do I use a partner and when do I use my own resources to do stuff? Well, I'm not going to build a GitHub clone on my own, right? So that's when I use Git. The cloud resources, as we say, for all of these things. For live session, I got to use YouTube, maybe traffic partners. The motivation for partnerships is in optimization and economy, reduction of risk and uncertainty, and guaranteed acquisition of particular resources and activities. So, we're not going to invent the wheel. So in order to perform the key activities we need, I'm either going to do it through my own resources and or working closely with key partners. And there's going to be a cost structure involved, which I need to really see clearly. Just like we know what the revenue stream is going to be, we need to know what the cost structure is. Okay? So that's it. There we have the business model canvas for the durable Drupal content migration rescue, the remaking of a webfactory.com. In our next video, now that we are on top of knowing what we want to be doing, we'll explore the process of how we're going to get there using the Lean UX canvas. How will the website or web app be instrumental in setting everything in motion, and how will we attain that goal in incremental, iterative, testable steps with the whole team working together instead of in isolated silos? See you soon for video 2, the Lean UX canvas.